Hello, Namaskar. This is CVR English and it's time to roll the primetime news hour with me, Anukriti Sharma. Ladies and gentlemen, Atishi is the next Chief Minister of Delhi. That's the news that we are breaking right now. You heard it first here. The name is Atishi, no longer just the front runner. That's the news. It's Atishi as the new Chief Minister of Delhi. It had come down to two names, but Atishi had pulled ahead, and now that is the final name that has been announced today. It is now confirmed. It is Atishi who is the Chief Minister of Delhi. This is a big stamp today on Indian news break. Atishi had been the front runner for the post of Delhi Chief Minister for quite some time now, and everything has unfolded as we have discussed. Number one, we had Sandeep Pathak briefing the MLAs. Number two, Dilip Pandey putting up a proposal that Arvind Kejriwal will put forward the name of the Delhi Chief Minister, the next Delhi Chief Minister. And this is exactly what we told you, viewers. And it is indeed Atishi who is now the caretaker, the new Chief Minister of Delhi. Now, will the elections happen as soon as November strikes? Something that Kejriwal had asked for or pleaded when he gave his resignation, or rather when he said that he would give his resignation. Well, not quite, because it seems that the Delhi court is not ready. So you are going to have a 5-month-long Chief Minister, which is more than the term of Sushma Swaraj, because the shortest term for a Chief Minister so far has been a 3-month term in the case of Sushma Swaraj. And in all probability, if the elections are not announced in less than 3 months, then Atishi's tenure will overshoot that of the shortest tenure of a Delhi Chief Minister under Sushma Swaraj. Aam Aadmi Party leader Atishi took oath as Delhi's new Chief Minister at Raj Niwas today. Atishi becomes the 17th woman Chief Minister in the country and the 3rd woman Chief Minister of Delhi after Sushma Swaraj and Sheila Dikshit. Atishi, a first-time legislator, will have a brief tenure in the office as assembly elections are due in February next year. And during Arvind Kejriwal's time in Tihar jail, in connection with the excise policy case, Atishi was a key face of the party. 5 Aam Aadmi Party leaders, including Gopal Rai, Kailash Gehlot, Saurabh-Bharadwaj, Imran Hussain and Mukesh Ahlawat were also administered oath as ministers in Chief Minister Atishi-led Delhi government. The oath-taking ceremony at Raj Niwas was a low-key affair as the mood in the party is yet not upbeat because of Arvind Kejriwal's resignation. AAP's national convener Kejriwal resigned as the Delhi Chief Minister on September 17th. He stepped down from the post days after he was released on bail by the Supreme Court in connection with the excise policy scam case. Announcing his decision to resign, Kejriwal said that he would return to the post only after getting a certificate of honesty from Delhi people in the assembly poll. He also demanded early elections in Delhi, but did not ask for early dissolution of the Delhi Assembly. The Delhi Assembly election is scheduled to be held in February next year. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party is busy campaigning for the upcoming polls in neighbouring Haryana. Gopal Rai has said that the objective in front of all of them right now is to take forward the work that was started in Delhi under the leadership of Arvind Kejriwal to new heights by the time of next elections. I'm going to quote him, "Along with this, we will work as a team to control pollution that increases during the winters. We will also work on other pending work," unquote, says Gopal Rai after taking oath as one of the Delhi ministers. And after Aam Aadmi Party leader Atishi was sworn in as the new Delhi Chief Minister, BJP MP Manoj Tiwari also extended his good wishes to Atishi for becoming the 3rd woman Chief Minister of Delhi. He stated that he has in fact already written to her over concerns regarding Delhi and that they, the BJP, will also extend full support to her in the coming 3 to 4 months over her tenure as the new CM of Delhi. Take a look at this.
I would now like to request Honorable Lieutenant Governor to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy. to a minister designate in the Council of Ministers, Shri Kailash Gehlot.
मैं कैलाश गहलोत ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं कैलाश गहलोत ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा, उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
I would now like to request Honorable Lieutenant Governor to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy to a minister designate in the Council of Ministers, Shri Imran Hussain.
मैं इमरान हुसैन ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा। मैं मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धा पूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं इमरान हुसैन ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा, उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
I would now like to request Honorable Lieutenant Governor to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy to Minister Designate in the Council of Ministers, Shri Mukesh Ahlawat.
मैं मुकेश अहलावत ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा।
Ladies and gentlemen, a key Aam Aadmi Party face, Atishi at 43, holds at least 14 key portfolios in the AAP government, including finance, education, public works department, power, revenue, law, planning, services, information and publicity and vigilance. She won from the Kalkaji Assembly seat in 2020 Assembly polls, and until April 2018 she served as the Education Minister with Manish Sisodia's advisor. She played a pivotal role in revamping the state of education in the government-run schools in the national capital, according to the AAP website. She is also credited for initiatives such as the happiness curriculum in the Delhi government schools. Atishi was the most prominent face of Aam Aadmi Party, especially after Sisodia was arrested in the alleged Delhi excise policy case. She was Aam Aadmi Party's prominent face and BJP's fiercest critique when both Sisodia and Kejriwal were behind bars in the excise policy case. She joins as Chief Minister when Kejriwal, Sisodia and other AAP leaders are out on bail facing the money laundering charges in connection with the case. And she is quite the scholar too. Born on June 8 of 1981 to Delhi University professors Vijay Kumar Singh and Tripta Wahi, Atishi did her schooling from Springdale School in New Delhi. She studied history at St. Stephen's College, where she stood first in the Delhi University. That is quite a feat. She has been to Oxford University too, where she pursued her master's on a Chevening Scholarship, the reputed Chevening Scholarship. A few years later, she earned her second master's from Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. Ladies and gentlemen, a scholar once again in educational research. Take a look.
करोलबाग में एक बिल्डिंग के कोलैप्स होने से काफी लोग जो उस बिल्डिंग में रहते थे वो उस बिल्डिंग के टूटने से दब गए। तकरीबन 15-16 लोगों को उस बिल्डिंग से रेस्क्यू किया गया। वो अभी उनका इलाज यहाँ पे RML हॉस्पिटल में चल रहा है। कुछ लोगों का इलाज लेडी हार्डिंग हॉस्पिटल में चल रहा है। हम सबके लिए दुख की बात है कि उसमें 4 लोगों की मृत्यु भी हो गई है। उनमें से काफी वैसे तो दिल्ली के बाहर के रहने वाले थे। मैं अभी यहाँ पे आके अस्पताल में सब पेशेंट से भी मिली हूँ। जिन लोगों की डेथ हुई है उनके परिवारों से भी मिली हूँ। दिल्ली सरकार की तरफ से जिनकी मृत्यु हुई है उनके परिवारों को और जिनको इंजरीज हुई हैं उनको पूरा सपोर्ट दिया जाएगा। हर मृतक के परिवार को दिल्ली सरकार की तरफ से 10 लाख रुपए का कॉम्पेंसेशन दिया जाएगा और जो सारे इंजर्ड हैं उनको भी मेजर इंजरी, माइनर इंजरी है।
Ladies and gentlemen, today joining us for a discussion on this important development and what can we expect in the future of Delhi's political fabric and canvas, we have joining us live Dr. R.S.V. Badrinath, a retired government official. He is the Secretary General of UFARWAS, or the United Federation of Residential Welfare Associations in Hyderabad, with more than 5,000 gated communities, and he is also a member of KORWA, or the Confederation of Residential Welfare Associations across the country with over 50,000 gated communities. We also have Dr. Vivek Pandit joining us today from Uttar Pradesh, a prominent author with more than 20 books to his credit and a professor at a management institute in Lucknow. Vivek sir is a world-renowned speaker and a communication coach and mentor for the corporates. We welcome both our guests to the CVR English newsroom for this live discussion on the most recent development in the political picture of Delhi. Can we have both the guests joining us?
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, Anukriti.
Good evening to both our guests today. We have reputed panelists joining us for our prime time discussion today. My first question is for you, Vivek sir. The Aam Aadmi Party, or the AAP as we call it, the Indian National Congress or the INC, and the Bharatiya Janata Party or the BJP are the major political parties in Delhi. Now, with Atishi stepping up as the latest Delhi Chief Minister, what curveballs can we expect in the upcoming Delhi and the Haryana elections, despite the fact that Kejriwal being granted a bail came as a shot in the arm for the AAP, which is all geared up for a massive show of unity and strength during this time? What can we expect, sir?
For starters, Anukriti, thank you so much for having me on your show. Good evening to you and my fellow panelists. One thing is for sure, the Aam Aadmi Party came to the political spectrum with a fantastic plank. And it was a plank of corruption. And the fight that it took on its shoulders, fighting against corruption, was something which was, I think it still is close to most of us Indians. So it was a fantastic start to their political career. Mr. Kejriwal, I think, hit the bull's eye. But of late, the sheen of Aam Aadmi Party has plummeted like anything. And the major reason, of course, we all know the the excise policy decisions which the cabinet of AAP took and implemented has worked against them. Of course, things have to be still proven in court. All these accusations are alleged. But what has happened outside the courtroom and in the public space at large, the sheen of Aam Aadmi Party, the trust that they had created, and the positive passions that they have been able to, invoke in the public at large, they have taken a southward trip. And that fall is dramatic, as we saw in the previous Lok Sabha elections. If you remember, Anukriti, Mr. Kejriwal had pronounced that, vote for me, so that your vote would mean that I'm out of the jail. But that did not happen. They lost badly in all the 7 seats, and similar was the story in Haryana. They just managed to win about three seats in Punjab, where they are in power already. So, of course, my congratulations to Atishi, the new chief minister. But again, this is a repair work which Aam Aadmi Party has undertaken. They have very limited time in which to, recover from the lost position. So I think the move is, it is late in the day. I don't see much advantage that Aam Aadmi Party might be able to draw from this. Atishi is a very articulate individual. I'm sure that same goes for her administrative acumen. But I think the time is pretty short for them to recover ground. Let us see. But I am not betting on this bet called AAP at the moment.
Like you said, sir, like you said, that the whole conception of Aam Aadmi Party was on the basis of an anti-corruption movement, and today the very leaders are out on bail because of a very grave charge, and the charge is corruption. So definitely, very rightfully spoken. Badrinath ji, I want to move on to you and ask you a very important question here. Badrinath ji, if you can hear my voice, Atishi,
yes, tell me, ma'am.
Atishi is a highly qualified scholar. Now, she has been to Oxford University too, where she pursued her master's on the coveted Chevening scholarship. Then a few years later, she again earned her second master's from Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar, this time in educational research. She also holds big portfolios in education. So, is education important for politicians in India, and how much so?
Yes, madam. Our lucky is Atishi. She studied some days in our native place, Rishi Valley, Jiddu Krishnamurti's school.
Oh.
All scholars are developed from that school. No, madam, the prosperity of a country depends not on the beauty of its public buildings, not on the beauty of the public. The prosperity of our country depends not on the abundance of its revenues, not on the strength of its fortifications, not on the beauty of its public buildings, but it consists in its number of cultivated citizens, in its men and women of education, enlightenment, and character.
Correct.
Here, Atishi, she is a scholar, philanthropist, educationist, social worker. Definitely, her experience, her education background will help the development of Delhi government.
Vivek sir, after a few long hours of perplexed gap since this major announcement today, I want to ask you, my respected panelist, on this political discussion, that should there be a minimum educational qualification needed for the politicians in our country? Because this is what I'm thinking right now, sir. Many of us will agree that yes, our political person should be educated and have some necessary etiquette also. But making education mandatory is equally contradictory in my opinion, as we all know that a good leader needs to have a proper commitment and confidence with which he or she can delegate the listeners. A leader has to be elected by his or her good communication skills and not merely on the basis of their degrees. Being literate is a highly desirable trait, but it can't be mandatory as well. Purposely, we can also not belittle this statement that I'm sure you must have heard, that an impartial education in politics would increase participation in elections, with electors voting armed with the knowledge and understanding of party politics rather than a reliance on spin and media prejudices, as coined by John Rimmer, president of the National Association of Schoolmasters and Women Teachers. To be a good political leader, one must acquire a striving sense of patriotism as well. In a situation now, Vivek sir, where India is challenged to become a world's #1 in almost all spheres, how important is mere literacy for a political leader, or should our leaders focus on holistic education and personal development such as communication and leadership skills too?
Okay, so you have spun the discussion on its head, but I'll take the bull as you have released it towards me. I would say I'm definitely all for education, but I'm more for knowledge and wisdom. We must remember that to govern India is not an easy job. We are a complex nation, a very diverse land, and the complexities bring with itself varied challenges, Anukriti. So, although the profile of Atishi might sound very fancy with big names being thrown at me, but that does not impress me. Honestly, a leader is made out of the integrity that it commands, the trust that it is able to build, he or she. So these are the basic things which are required in a leader, and a leader of a magnitude to manage a state, a huge geographical area with diverse population. It's not an easy job. So simply to pin all the hopes on fancy education does not impress me, as I said, at all. It is your ability to understand the situation on the ground, your ability to be so dynamic in your approach of decision making that you are able to utilize your resources so smartly, and you are able to fulfill the needs and aspirations of millions of your people is something that I always admire in a leader. And there has been no dearth of good leaders in our nation. So, but definitely we have a young and a dynamic chief minister in the name of Atishi, and she has one important state to govern. So my best wishes, but to simply base it on her Oxford or Harvard degree, I would not buy that.
Like Badrinath ji also mentioned a word character, and like you're also mentioning, a leader, especially a political leader, and that too in a country like India, needs to have honesty, integrity, and that trait in their character where they can be trustworthy and dependable. Somebody that the people of India can trust and depend on. So coming back to you, Badrinath ji, since you mentioned character of a person, how important is the integral character of a person? What do you have to say about this when it comes to the political landscape of India?
Madam, there one Sanskrit slogan, Etatesa pratu satya visesha dagra janmaha swam swam charitran siksharan prithvivya bharatiyataha. The persons who has the education background from Indian culture, definitely they are the knowledgeable persons. And here Atishi, she is more educated and social worker. So because of that only, she developed public schools, healthcare and infrastructure in Delhi, and she is on the tongues of public of Delhi.
Badrinath ji, what do you have to say about the changing scene when it comes to the government schools of Delhi? With all the good work that Atishi has done in the past, people are now slowly but steadily beginning to see the government schools in Delhi in a new light, with more and more educational initiatives being taken by the teachers and the leaders over there. What do you have to say about the government school system of Delhi?
Yes, madam. Only a educated person who will implement the schemes or who will plan for the welfare of the society or the people will be done by a scholar. The scholars will have, the people will have belief on the Atishi madam, and also madam, the ruling of a country or a state not easy madam. So along with her character, caliber and efficiency, she has to manage all the servants, public servants, opposition parties, and she has to concentrate on the development of Delhi.
Mr. Vivek, coming back to the political scenario of Delhi, looking at Kejriwal's political graph, first came his arrest, then he went to the jail, afterwards the bail, and now his resignation to clean up his tarnished image in the society, especially in Delhi. Is the Aam Aadmi Party trying to play the sympathy card to attract some voters to their ballot this time?
I think the situation is much beyond the sympathy factor, Anukriti. The state of Delhi has always been in the center of the eye, and there are some unique factors. If you notice, Delhi faces the pollution threat, and we are approaching that period when the Perali burning in states around Delhi is going to cause havoc to the air of Delhi. So Delhi is approaching towards another mayhem, winter mayhem, and the water shortage, the excess of water, all kinds of situations. The sewage situation of Delhi is also always there. I know the education. There has been some work done towards education, but for any state, for any region, there are multiple things which run parallelly. We cannot simply focus on one aspect and ignore other. Our life has so many ingredients to it. So, as I said, it has to be a very comprehensive approach. And politics in India is definitely a theater of the absurd. Passions run high, religion plays a major role. Caste is, politicians so easly throw in the air and at each other. So, as I said, you need to be an astute politician to find your way through the maze called Indian politics. And Mr. Kejriwal, to a large extent, has actually messed up the situation for AAP party and their prospects in Delhi. So I'm very sure that the sympathy factor is not going to play. In fact, it is what Aam Aadmi Party does collectively for Delhi that will count more as compared to what Kejriwal persona or what he can promise to the state of Delhi. I see the situation that way.
Building on what you've just said, there's a very famous communication coach and a mentor just like you, Ron Malhotra, who says that the true definition of politics is about good communication skills coupled with a good understanding of human psychology, and politics is all about grabbing and retaining power. But considering the landscape of Delhi, the voter landscape of Delhi, it is always a mixed bag, and sometimes it appears to be very confused bag when we look at it from a bird's eye view. So no matter what agenda the Aam Aadmi Party or the BJP employs this time around, how do you forecast the play out when it comes to the voters in the Delhi NCR region, because they usually seem to be a confused mixed bag, sir?
Okay, so Anukriti, that's a good question, and I will like to draw your attention to another important aspect. The freebie culture, which has been, rigorously being followed up by the political parties here. So distributing free rations and giving subsidies in elections, waiving of loans. I know a section of our society needs help in that direction, but to make it a regular habit and begin to do it with all the population at large is, I think, working against the interest of our economy. and the kind of progress that we should be making, and the kind of self-worth that we need to create in our individuals, that we become a hard-working, earning society, so that we are proud of what we achieve, and we grow exponentially. So I think we all call ourselves great nationalists, but with our act, I don't think any of these parties can stand the test of being real nationalists. They are playing against the. I think we are not a superpower yet. We have the capacity to become one, but our economic growth is there, but still limiting us in so many manners, because much of our resources are being wasted. In case we are unable to utilize the resources, they get washed away in floods, or thankfully the famine is unheard of these days, but floods are causing havoc. We are frittling away our resources like anything, whereas the approach has to be very focused. So I think the real thing is still missing from our political dialogue, our political spectrum, which is very sad. We have all the potential to be a great power, but we lack those kinds of leaders. And I think a small fix here, a small fix there, bring in Atishi so that she can tighten up the nuts and bolts to help the prospects of Aam Aadmi Party. That's a very small thought to begin with. And we as Indians, we don't see through the game.
Okay, so zooming out.
They get away with it.
Zooming out to both of you are scholars. Badrinath ji, you are a reputed scholar yourself, and Vivek sir, you are a prominent senior professor at a management institute in Lucknow. Now both of you are scholars, and Atishi also happens to be a scholar. This is a question which goes out to both of you, and let's take it one by one. Do you think that we should be encouraging the youth of our nation towards politics as well? Because ultimately children are potentially the light of the world and potentially the light of this country too. So we shall start with Badrinath ji. Should we be encouraging the youth of today towards the direction of politics along with education?
Yes, madam. It is necessary, because only scholars and educationists will develop the country. We are going to become the Vishwa Guru, because India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great grandmother of tradition. The most valuable and instructive materials of the mankind are treasured up from our Indian culture only. It is in our blood, madam. And also there is one problem. India is not a poor country, but Indians are poor. We have to eradicate that. We are having minerals, we are having resources, but only because of these freebies and political stunts, people are becoming lazy. So with concrete decisions and implementation of the act, and also to give good education and enlightenment and good environment to the people of Delhi.
Vivek sir, what's your take on this? Should we as professors at colleges be inspiring and encouraging our students towards the realm of politics as well?
It definitely makes me proud when you call me a scholar, but
Indeed you are.
more important, I would like to be known more as a sensitive individual, as a writer, and I would want the youth to read my work. So that is what I aspire for constantly. And coming to your question, Anukriti, I always work towards solution. I will not give you fancy words to answer to your question. I have a solution, a definite solution that our nation can do. And you talked about our politicians possessing definite education or having certain standards. I feel it is time that we have designated universities of political science.
Bang on.
We are a nation, yes, we are a nation who are always proud and passionate about her religion and politics. I think for every geographical location of ours, at least 8 sectors of India, you can call it north, northeast, south, southwest, at least 8 such regions should have universities dedicated to creating quality politicians across castes, across religions, where those universities should be the playfields of future politicians, of future leaders,
Wow.
and they be trained there as a career should be promised and promoted in those universities.
That's a radical
all
solution.
all the activism, dharnas, protests, they should happen in those universities and not on the streets of the country. So the daily work should not be affected at all. But we should give them all the possible facilities, sprawling campuses, give them scholarships, whatever. But create future leaders and create them in a manner so that there is a sense of competitiveness and there is a sense of fair competitiveness, and develop that habit. So this is what I'm looking at. It's time we began to think of solving different solutions instead of pulling each other's hair.
That's
no wonder
a
I've lost
radical
so many
solution, sir.
myself.
That's a radical solution right there by you. I'm not sure how much time it may take to implement it across India, but if implemented, I'm sure it's going to work out in the real world practical sense, and it will come up. It will come up with some practical solutions and outcomes as well. So here we had Badrinath ji and Dr. Vivek Pandit ji joining us for this discussion on this most current political development in Delhi. I would like to thank both our guests on our show tonight for joining us and sharing their knowledge and their insights on this highly pertinent matter of the nation. Thank you so much to both our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Badrinath ji joining us from Hyderabad and Dr. Vivek Pandit ji joining us from Uttar Pradesh on the Prime Time News Hour with me, Anukriti Sharma. We shall give you minute by minute updates on this important political development in the Delhi NCR region, where Atishi today has been sworn in as the brand new Chief Minister of Delhi. I shall catch you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. prime time. Until then, Jai Hind, Namaskar, and keep watching CVR English.